Thanks for coming. I'm Kate Chenli. I grew up in China. I came to the United States for my graduate school. I graduated with a master's in electrical and computer engineering, but I never liked it. I enjoyed designing complex worlds and characters much more than I designing softwares. So besides reading and writing, I also enjoy outdoor activities and traveling. And A Bright Heart is my debut novel. It's a young adult fantasy. Basically, the main character's name is, isn't this gorgeous cover? Okay, the main character's name is Mingxin. So Mingxin helped Prince Ren, the man she loved, become king. But as soon after his coronation, he betrayed and murdered her. And she also found that her uncle and cousin also betrayed her. So as she's dying, she prays to the gods that to give her a chance to avenge her murder and to make things right. So she wakes up 2 years earlier. So she swears that Ren will never become king and that she will never fall in love again. So in this new life, it's just again, it's like in the previous life, 4 princes vie for the throne. She allies with Prince Jie, and they make a great team because Jie respects her intelligence and always stands by her. So, but she just realizes that her action has changed the course of history. So now a dark magic threatens the peace of her kingdom, and she finds out that Ren is even more evil than she could have imagined. He's willing to kill, lie, even sell his soul in order to become king. So while Mingxin tries to prevent her heart from being broken by falling in love again, so she also needs to use all her weight and intelligence to survive the dangerous court and defeat her enemies, both old and new. So that's what the book is about. Okay, so this section is Mingxin's female bodyguard. She asked her female bodyguard to train her in hand-to-hand combat. So her female bodyguard's name is Fei. So Fei says, we gotta need to find a nice weapon for you. So now going to the weapon, going shopping for a weapon. Okay, so the weapon store, a 3-storied building, has an entrance supported by 2 polished black pillars engraved with crossed swords. Inside, the ceiling is more than 10 feet high. Knives, daggers, and swords of various lengths and widths are displayed. All the other customers are men, and then they gawk at us. Some shake their heads, while others scowl. Fei ignores them and walks on, but their open displeasure only makes me more defiant. I lift my chin and glower back. Let them simmer, let them stew. I notice a young man, flanked by a pair of armed guards, watching us. There is no disapproval in his eyes, only a curious glint. Despite his thin frame, he carries himself with a brisk and effortless pride, typical of someone important. I frown inside. I can count on one hand the young men of prominent positions I recall from my past life, but I can't place him, despite his striking sense of familiarity. My thoughts are interrupted by Fei's demanding voice. My lady needs to see the finest, sharpest dagger you have here that fits her grip. I approach the counter with swagger. The man with the tallest head, distinguishing him as the head clerk, dismisses his younger colleagues. He gives both of us a once-over, and whatever he says seems to satisfy him. Next, he asked me to show him my weapon-wielding hand. I have something that meets your requirements perfectly, he says, but it may cost you. I'll be the judge of that, I reply. He disappears into the back of the store and brings out a sheath dagger, clasping it like treasure. It's about 6 inches long, with a brass-plated guard and a contoured leather handle. I unsheathe it. Under the light, the blade gleams like silver frost on a frigid dawn. My breath catches. The clerk sets a strand of hair against its sharp edge and blows. The hair splits in half instantly. Faye's eyes light up. See how it fits, she says. Following her instructions, I stretch my arm out and give a few flicks of my wrist. The dagger's weight feels like nothing and seems like a natural extension of my hand. Perfect, Faye says. How much is it? I asked the clerk. 50 gold taels. Even my uncle would not indulge himself in such a luxury, but to me, it's worth it. I reach into my satchel for money, but Faye stops me with a hand pressed to mine. You've just inflated the price, he tells the clerk. Even a first-rate dagger like this shouldn't cost so much. He barks a sharp laugh, his face reddening. That's most absurd. What do women know about the value of any weapon? The men snicker loudly. Faye's jaw locks rigid. Emboldened, the clerk puffs up his chest. Trust an expert word, my lady, he says to me. 50 gold taels for this dagger or no deal. I turn away from him. How much does something like this usually cost? I ask Faye. Around 30 gold taels. Nonsense, the clerk begins, but I cut him off. What does the commercial law state? To ensure a prosperous commercial environment and promote healthy competition, no price inflation of more than 5% shall occur within a year. I'm sure there's a record of the official price kept somewhere. So tell me again, how much is a reasonable price? Or should we find out if you're breaking the law? He goes pale as a shell. Forgive me, my lady. There must be something wrong with my memory. 30 gold taels it is. After I pay him with the 3 gold ingots, Faye tucks the dagger beneath her belt, next to a hidden short sword. As we walk away, the young man catches my gaze. He inclines his head at me with a smile. I've definitely met him, but before I can remember where, we are out the door. Faye and I look at each other, then laugh in unison, bumping our elbows. When we reach our carriage a block away, I suddenly chafe at the idea. Oh, I guess I'm done there. What do you think? You want me to read another part or?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. This next part is the second encounter between Mei Xin and Prince Jie. So it happens at her uncle's place. Ren and her 2 cousins' names are Bo and Eileen. Like I said, they betrayed her in her previous life too. And so Bo and Ren, Prince Ren, they are practicing archery, and Ren just showed off some great skills. Okay. Jie is already picking up a bow and 5 arrows. He can't help showing off, can he? Jie aims and shoots. The first arrow strikes the bull's eye, and each of the following pierces the shaft of the previous arrow, all the way to the end, sound and precise. We gape. A complete silence descends, but for the vibrating hum of the remaining shaft. Ren appears as calm and unmoved as a wall of clay, but I know him better than that. A muscle feathers at his chin, quick and subtle, then it's gone. I look away just in time to see Eileen leaning into Jie, her shoulder almost touching his arm. Oh, Your Highness, no wonder you became the champion of the tournament the last 3 years, she purrs. I wish I'd been there to see you winning. I'm sure you'll defend your title again next year. I look forward to seeing it myself. Jie turns away from her with a grimace. I almost laugh. It's becoming less intolerable by the minute. Miss Lu, would you mind demonstrating your prowess in archery? Jia says. What? Can you beat that? Jia points at the arrow still stuck in the target. If you do, I'll disregard your previous insolence, he says only for my ears. I stare at him, at the tight lines of his face. Heaven above, he's serious. I haven't pulled a single bowstring in a while. What will he do to me if I decline his challenge? Eileen claps her hands. What an exciting idea. I'll cheer for you, Mingxin. Cheer for my failure, she means. Ren flicks me a sympathetic look, then sighs, as if coming to a hard decision, and turns to his brother. I know exactly what he's going to do. He'll ask Jia to let me go and withstand his wrath for my sake. What a hero. I don't need Ren's rescue, ever, and I won't give my cousins the satisfaction of seeing me made a fool of. What if I can make my arrow fly further than yours? I announced to Jia and everyone. He frowns, obviously wondering if I have some kind of trick up my sleeve. I raise a brow. You're not afraid of losing to me, are you? He lifts his chin. I accept your challenge. For my ears only, he asks. No matter what trickery you pull off, I'll win. You first, Your Highness. Under Jia's instruction, Bo and Yao move a target to 300 yards. Once more, he hits the bull's eye. He needles me with a smirk. I take one arrow and walk to the falcon's cage, feeling everyone's stare focus upon my back. I borrow the handleless gloves. After pulling a ribbon free from my hair, I wrap it around the shaft of the arrow. Then I reach into the cage and secure the other end of the ribbon to the falcon's leg as it screeches and pecks at my gloves. What are you doing? Bo squeals. He takes a step forward but halts immediately when Jia blocks his path with an extended arm. As promised, here is your freedom, I whisper to the bird of prey. As soon as I open the cage door, the falcon takes flight. Soon enough, it becomes a speck in the sky. My arrow has flown at least 10 times as far, I say. Can you beat that, Prince Jia? Thank you.
All right, who has some questions for Kate? I know we're streaming, so we gotta hear it.
What's your favorite part of the writing process?
Actually, I know a lot of people hate revision. Actually, that's the part I love the best. I just like because I feel that to see the book getting better and better, and it just feels like I'm growing as a writer. So, yeah.
All right, who else? Yeah.
What was the journey like for this book from the initial idea to publication? How many different versions did it go through? And
Oh
and how
my
did you get
God,
there?
I lost count. Yeah, because in the beginning I actually wrote it with Western characters because back then it was very hard to sell books with characters of colors. But then I think a few years, 3 years ago, when I started to reading all these Asian fantasies, I was like, come on! I mean, this book was inspired from a common trope in Chinese literature, but in order to sell it, I wrote it with Western characters. I'm like, I'm gonna change it all back, and keep it true to my characters, keep it true to my stories. So that's a major rewrite. So I would say that I probably started like 3 years ago, and then I had to spend like 6 months just completely rewrite it, and then and I feel like I like this version much better. then then you know the process. The rest, it's very like sending to agents and got rejections and all 9 yards. So that's the so but this is the third book I finished. So I learned a lot from the previous 2 books. So I would think that at least this one didn't take as long as the other 2. I think that's a major part that happened was like I had to do the major report and change back to Chinese characters and change the whole setting, everything. Yeah, but it was worth it because I like the end products much better. Yeah.
Well, you say this is the third book that you finished. Are you planning to revisit the other ones you've finished prior to now, if this is your debut, or just charge ahead?
So.
Okay, go into future stories.
Yeah, I didn't think that the first 2 books were that good, and also I mean usually I also lost passion of those 2 projects, so I want to move on to something new. And I want to write something I'm really passionate about. So I just finished the sequel to this book. Not exactly finished because I just submitted the manuscript to my editor. So probably gonna be more revision involved, but I'm so ready to move on to the next project because I have several ideas that I want to work on, and I just I can't wait. Yeah.
What inspired you to write this novel? Was there a certain person in your life or a certain event in your life?
Like I said, I was actually inspired by a common trope in Chinese literature called rebirth and revenge. In those stories, the main character got betrayed and murdered by the people she cared about, and then she miraculously gets a second chance at life and finds herself transported back in time, and then she gets a chance to seek the justice and right the wrongs done to her. Along the way, she grows wiser, braver, and more confident. I was like, I really like those stories. I'm like, why don't I write it in English? So it has a lot of elements I enjoy, like second chances, a strong female protagonist, slow burn romance, a lot of court intrigue. So so I was like, also while I was writing it, I always felt that there's still a lot of room to grow for female friendship in fantasy genre. So I add a lot of that too. So also because it's such a common trope in Chinese literature, it's its own genre. You don't have to explain why she got a second chance. But I can't. So I added. So actually, I added a lot of why and how she got second chances. So I added a lot of magic to the story. Yeah. So I know there's gonna be a lot more magic in the next book. Yeah.
How did you stay motivated, like, while you were writing the book, like, through writing those other 2 and then starting this one?
I guess it's just the passion about writing. Yeah, it's just like when I have an idea, I just have to put it on a page, and I want to share that with other people. Yeah, like I said, mostly the passion. Yeah.
There was a scene where Ningxin figures out the 3 puzzles or challenges. What inspired those challenges?
Oh, I did a lot of research. Yeah, like the first puzzle, I was like browsing through all kinds of websites to find out, the puzzles websites. Yeah. The second one, it's like because the WeChat that's based on Go game. So actually the third one that kind of stopped me for a while in writing because I couldn't I couldn't work that out for a couple of weeks. So finally, bang, it just struck me. I'm like, okay, that's the way to go. Yeah, so, yeah, a lot of research, yeah.
Was the magic used also inspired by Chinese mythology?
Yeah, mostly, yeah, mostly, yeah.
All right, are there any other questions? Yeah, go for it.
With the initial writing of a story, do you outline fully first, or do you do more of an exploratory?
Yeah, I always outline. I have to know how the three arcs play out, how the main character solve the conflict at the end, and their journey to get there, and how they grow during the journey. Yeah, I always outline. I know some writers, they say, when I start writing, I don't even know how the story is going to end. But I can't do that. I have to know how it's going to end. Yeah.
That is my style of writing. So what advice would you give for writers who are kind of just starting out and trying to find their way?
I think the most important thing for you is to find either a local or online critic group. It's not just to critique each other's work. It's also to offer support during the growing process of the publishing, because you are going to get a lot of rejections. But don't worry, everybody been there. Every writer, even successful writers have been there. The most important thing is just to never give up.